What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hammerdown Motorsports. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Steve Fast, and here behind me we have our 2022 Super Duty Platinum F350. And for those of you who've been following along, you might have noticed that, well, I can't leave anything alone, and we've already changed up our wheel and tire setup to these 20-inch TIS off-road -19s, 10 wides on some 35-inch Toyo Open Country MTs. We actually had these tires from our previous build on the Rebel, and when we went to the BFGs, I had these sitting in the shed, and I was like, I might as well do something with them. So it was a pretty easy decision just to get some wheels. I went online, these wheels really stuck out to me, and I think in a 20-inch, it really complements this truck. It's not too much. You can go all the way up to 26 with these. These are actually the mildest size you can get in this wheel in particular. These are -19, 10 wide. You can go way up to 26-inch, and they get pretty insane. But I think this really fits a classy look for this truck. I mean, this truck, I always wanted to be a towing vehicle. I want to be able to pull a fifth wheel and all that kind of stuff if I ever get one. And yeah, so this is basically just a functional but classy, but still custom build for this truck for me. Definitely drop in the comments, what do you guys think of our new wheel and tire setup? So a little closer look, you can see we have our mud flaps on still. This is something that I did run into a little bit of a clearance issue with the stock height. So I went to Todd at TSE's and I said, Todd, I need a level kit real quick. Can we get one overnight? And he had one in stock, which isn't the normal brand that I normally use, but this is a Band-Aid for now. I think we're gonna be changing things up anyways. So this was just to get us on the road, basically. So you might be wondering why I went with a 35-inch tire instead of a 37 and going a little bit higher with the lift. Well, obviously this truck, I want to keep it a towing vehicle, at least for now. And I also wanted to be able to run my stock setup if I wanted to. So obviously with this setup, we're running a 20-inch wheel with a 35-inch tire. The stock ones have a 20-inch wheel and a 34-inch tire, just a very different offset. And I mean, they look good, but they're just not aggressive, and they look very, very factory because, well, obviously they are. But if I wanted to tow a big trailer or something like that, I probably might just put the factory ones on, so I'm not running mud terrains on a long trip or something like that. You know, with the buzzing sound that you do get from these, it is a bit of a trade-off, the look for a little bit of noise, but all in all, we still can go back to our factory setup if we want to, so that kind of leaves a little bit of more options open as far as why I went with this setup. All right, so you're like me, you bought your Super Duty, you're excited to have it. When you get it home from the dealership, you think, wow, this truck is awesome, and there's nothing really I need to change about it right away. At least that's what you told the wife. And then you start scouring the internet and you start seeing the things that you can do to these trucks, and you decide that there's maybe a few things that you might want to change to make this truck your own. Now, I've been doing the exact same thing, and I've been scouring the internet, and I've found 10 things that you might want to consider putting on your truck. And these are just some things that maybe you want to wait for. Maybe there's some things you want to do right away, but these are popular things to do to these trucks. And I think all of them are pretty noteworthy. And maybe these are some things you want to take from my list. Maybe there's some things that you want to add. Definitely drop anything that I may have missed in the comments that you think should have made the list. But we're going to start out with number 1, and that is our cow catcher, our big lower valence. And for me, I'm actually kind of drawn in whether to replace it or whether not to replace it. The Tremor one is shorter, and I've heard that you can get the 2-wheel drive one, which is a little bit longer than the Tremor one. So you get a little bit of, I guess, you know, deflection of air or whatnot. But the one on the 4-wheel drive, as you can see in front of us, is very large and is very low. But for me, I think it kind of looks decent on the front of the truck. I mean, it's not terrible with 35s, level kit, all that kind of stuff. Drop in the comments, should I put the Tremor one on the front? That's our number 1. I mean, a lot of people have done it. It does look really, really good, but I'm still undecided on that one at this point. And for number 2 on our list, we do have on our driver's side, nice platinum door sill. Now, on the previous truck, 17 to 19, they actually had a illuminated door sill. And now when you get your 20 to 22 truck, you think to yourself, why is that not illuminated? I guess, I don't know if Ford just decided that was more than it needed and this was good enough and you're still paying the same price or more for your truck and you should get less. I'm not entirely sure what the logic behind this was, or there's a shortage of supply, but you can buy the platinum door sills from the previous models that are illuminated, and then you actually have the wiring plug underneath the one on your 20 to 22 model. So you can just pop this one out, buy that one from Ford, plug it in, and everything should work just as if you got it from the factory. You just got to pay like someone around $300 for the front two door sills, which, I mean, it isn't the end of the world. We spend that much on pretty much nothing on these trucks. So if that's something that you want to add to your truck, that is our number 2. Number 3 on our list is wheels and tires. A very good way to make your own mark on your truck, and everybody knows that it's yours because, well, there's probably not going to be as many people around driving with a custom wheel setup than the people that have still the factory ones, because, well, it is a bit of an expensive mod. You're probably looking somewhere around the $3,000 mark, maybe a little less, depending on the tire and wheel that you do choose. But yes, that is a definite number 3 for me. Number 4 is a pretty simple one, costs you about $50 plus the licensing and all that kind of stuff for the module. I will actually have a link in the description for the connector that I bought for Forscan. Forscan allows you to go inside your truck's computer and change parameters, turn off that double honk annoying stuff that it does, and basically customize your truck from a computer standpoint. I believe you can change your tire size and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a little bit like the Z Automotive Taser that we put on the Ram, but this one's a little bit more laptop based instead of using the infotainment system. But it's something that you can actually go in and customize different things. And from what I've seen, it does show the ambient lighting as a Ford Ice Blue. So that's another thing that they did cut from these newer Platinums, is the ability to change the color of the ambient lighting. And I'm a huge LED light guy. I love colored lighting inside my truck. Obviously, if you guys have been following along with the Rebel, we put full ambient lighting in that truck manually. So yeah, if I can change the color of that interior lighting, that would be a big plus for me. And it's very possible with Forscan, but we're going to be getting into that in a future video. For number 5 on our list is these giant red taillights. Now, I mean, some people out there might really like them. For me, I think there's definitely more that can be done with these to make it custom. I've seen a lot of people do different tinting options. And for me, I'm still kind of exploring exactly what I'm gonna do, but I may have to take these to a custom light shop. But I definitely wanna put some black in here, just kind of accent the different lines. In the taillight, I think the red kind of mutes a lot of it. And it's too much red for me. And I think that a future mod for me for our number 5 should be some sort of custom coloration in these taillights. I know Recon does make a replacement taillight, but I'm just not totally sold on the way that those look. I think some of the LEDs aren't exactly my style. So, and for, I think they're $600 or $700, you could probably get these customized for less and maybe make them look a little bit better. Number 6 on our list is a little bit utilitarian, but if you can see into my hitch, on the 20 to 22, I believe they did change the hitch up to a 3-inch receiver, which is giant. And most people, when you're towing a trailer, you're gonna be running a 2-inch shank. So they do give you a 2.5-inch reducer from the factory, but if you're going to be towing pretty much with any of the hitches that I've ever used, it's going to be a 2-inch shank. You can order a different hitch, or you can order a reducer kit, and a reducer kit is probably a whole lot cheaper, being that I think the hitch on my Rebel is somewhere around the $300 range. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper to just reduce it down. This setup is made by Curt, which is a very well-known trailer manufacturer for accessories, hitches, all that kind of good stuff. And this will go from 2.5, and then it has an inner sleeve that will take it down to 2-inch. I will have a link in the description for this, but it is very nice to have because, well, from the factory, unless you have a 2.5-inch shank hitch, you're gonna need this. Number 7 on our list is some mud flaps. You definitely want to have some sort of protection for your truck. If you're driving down any kind of roads where dirt and mud and all that kind of stuff, you want to catch at least some of it with these tires. I mean, obviously it's not going to catch all of it, but these, for the money, I think are a very good insurance policy. For under $100, you can get all 4 from WeatherTech. And obviously they work really, really well, other than a little bit of rubbing the front with the -19s, but that's to be expected. I think they might self-clearance after a while, or if we have a little bit more of a lift, we might totally clear them all together. But for the price, I think you can't go wrong with some mud flaps. So that is definitely our number 7. Number 8 may surprise some of you guys because maybe it's not your style or maybe it's something that you never even knew was possible. But if you look down here, right above your license plate, there are 2 screws holding on a black piece of plastic. Now you might wonder, what is that for? Well, it's actually a blanking plate for what could be dually lights on the back. So if you have a single wheel and you want to run the little 3 lights in the middle like the dualies have, you remove that, you can order the light from Ford and the connector, and you can actually go down into your harness and tap it into the factory harness because the wire's already on the far side for the body harness, just not into the taillight harness. So it's actually not that hard to do. I got this from Power Stroke Tech Talk, so big shout out to him for giving this information because I never would have known it if it wasn't for his video. But definitely something on my wish list to do, the dually marker lights on the back of this truck. I think it'll just kind of give it that little bit more of a big truck, big rig kind of feel. And for number 9, we do have this giant antenna with this huge black base on it. And well, I just really don't know that it's all that necessary. If you're big into listening to FM radio and you're a big local radio fan, you might want to leave this on because I'm sure leaving this one's on is going to be a better reception than anything you're going to replace it with. But for me, I would kind of like to go with a shorty antenna. I think something just the length of this would be fine, just to kind of take away this big whip antenna kind of deal. These are pretty easy. You can just spin them off, no big deal, and replace it with something custom. I've seen a lot of other guys do it. I use satellite radio and streaming for all my radio, so I don't need a big antenna. I think it's just something that will clean up the look of the truck, and that's definitely my number 9 and is on my wish list. And now for number 10, and these are in no kind of specific order. We have our Ford spray and bed liner. Now, if you didn't click the box or you ordered your truck or the truck was already on the lot and it didn't have a spray and bed liner, there is good options out there like Line-X and a million different other brands, but having some protection for your bed is definitely a plus because if this is just bare paint, anything you throw in there is gonna scratch the bed really badly. And I mean, it's an aluminum bed, so I mean, it's not gonna rust as bad as a steel one would, but I still would probably wanna go for some sort of protection. It's something that I've always had on any of my trucks and it's always worked out really, really well. But being that this was already on my truck, it can't be on the list, I guess, for me. So I'm gonna go with a tonneau cover because tonneau covers, they keep the rain out of your bed. You can put stuff in there, it's secure for the most part, depending on which one you get. I think for this one, I might go with more of a hard cover, like a roll and lock or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm as big of a fan of the tri-fold ones, but I think something that will roll up into a cassette will probably be a good option. They are a little pricey. That's kind of why I haven't ordered one yet. They're about 1,500 bucks, but I have had roll and locks before and they're actually a very good product. On my Rebel, I went with a Tuxedo just because I wanted something simple and easy for 500 bucks. You can go with that on here as well. And it did work. It definitely does the purpose, but it is a little bit more time consuming to roll up. You gotta roll it up and then you gotta tie it off and all that kind of stuff. The roll and lock is very easy. You unlock it, you let it slide in the cassette and you're good to go. And to put it back, you just pull it and it locks into place, close your tailgate and you're on the road. And also on the roll and lock, you do get the added security because it's built like those storefront shutters. So if somebody were to try to smash into your tonneau cover, they wouldn't be able to because that thing will just bend. It's made out of aluminum, hence why you pay a little bit more for it. So there it is, everybody, our build so far and my top 10 mods that you probably want to start with on your truck. I'm sure there's a million different ways you can go. Definitely drop your favorite in the comment section or something that maybe I might have missed. But those are just kind of the 10 things that came to mind for me, just kind of in the beginning of this whole entire process of building this truck. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And as always, keep that hammer down. So now if you made it this far in the video, drop top 10 in the comment section. That way I know you made it this far in the video and I can interact with you guys there.